I came back from deployment to find my brother had sold my car, my equipment, and cleared my account. You don't need it anymore, he said, laughing. I looked him dead in the eye and said, You forgot I still have friends in military intel. He thought it was a joke until he got a call from the FBI asking about. So yeah. I came back from my second deployment ready to breathe for the first time in almost a year. I wasn't expecting a party or anything. I just wanted my life back. My stuff, my car, my quiet house. Something normal. Instead, I walked into a nightmare. And my own damn brother caused it. Let me back up. My name's Craig. I served 8 years in the Army. Communications specialist. First tour was rough. Second one took pieces out of me I'm still trying to find. I'd been gone almost 11 months this time, mostly in Western Iraq. I saw things I'll never talk about, even with the guys who were there with me. When I left, I gave Ryan a key to my house and access to my emergency bank account. I figured he's my little brother, he can handle keeping an eye on things. I had a full setup, home gym, tools, computer rig, my car, and enough saved to relax for a few months once I got back. He was always kind of irresponsible, but I never thought he'd screw me. Not like this. The second I landed in Ohio, I noticed something was off. My ride, the 17 Charger I worked my ass off to pay for, was gone. I didn't park at the base or a long-term lot. I left it in my driveway under a car cover. Ryan was supposed to check on it. I assumed maybe he parked it somewhere else. When I got to my house, I almost didn't recognize it. The grass was knee-high. Packages were stacked up on the porch like nobody had touched them in months. The locks looked different too. I got that heavy pit in my stomach. You know the kind where your body already knows something's gone sideways? I knocked. No answer. I called Ryan. He picked up sounding annoyed, like I was interrupting something. Me? Where's my car? Ryan. Oh. Dude. You're home already? Me. I asked where's my car. Him. I sold it. Just like that. Like he sold a spare bike or an old couch. Me. You what? Ryan. Relax. You're back now. You don't need it anymore. I thought I'd help you out. Start fresh, right? Then he laughed. Laughed like it was a damn joke. I didn't even yell. I just said, I'll be there in 10. When I showed up at his new apartment, I immediately knew what he'd done. New place. Fancy neighborhood. Big-ass TV. Gym shoes stacked by the door like he was starting a resale business. The kind of stuff you don't afford working retail at Best Buy. He opened the door smiling. Like I was the one being dramatic. I looked around. You sell everything? He shrugs. I kept a few things. But yeah. Mostly. What about the computer? The encrypted hard drive. He froze. Dude. I said. That wasn't just a gaming laptop. That was government property. Ryan. I thought it was yours. I didn't answer him. I just stared. Then I said, You forgot I still have friends in military intel. He laughed again. What are you gonna do, get the FBI on me? I left without another word. I didn't punch him. Didn't yell. Just walked away. He thought that was the end of it. It wasn't. Next morning I called Sam Rivera. We deployed together twice. He used to run communications security for our unit. Now he works in a joint military-civilian intel office in D.C. I told him about the laptop, the equipment, the forged signatures, the rerouted VA money. He was quiet for a few seconds. Then he said, You serious? Yeah. He said he'd make some calls. Turns out, when you pawn a laptop with secure data still on it, even if the machine itself isn't top secret, it sets off red flags. The system auto-detected an unauthorized sale. And because the hard drive was never wiped, all the logs, files, and secure access paths were still intact. That alone was enough to trigger a federal-level review. Sam looped in a few contacts. They started looking into who accessed the pawn shop record, the forged documents, the bank transactions. And just like that, the noose started tightening around Ryan's neck. The FBI didn't knock. They showed up with a subpoena. Pulled him out of work in the middle of his shift at Dick's Sporting Goods. Took his phone. His computer. His records. He called me freaking out 2 hours later. Craig, what the hell did you do? The feds just showed up. I didn't answer. A week later, he got hit with 3 charges. Unauthorized sale of government property, identity theft. He signed my name to bank withdrawals and moved my VA direct deposits. Fraud. I pressed full charges. He tried calling again.
And again.
Left voicemail saying I was overreacting. That I was ruining his life over a car. No, Ryan. I was fixing mine. He even got a lawyer to try and spin it like I gave him the stuff and then changed my mind. That didn't fly. The bank records, forged signatures, and pawn shop footage were too clear. The court date came. I didn't flinch. I told the judge everything under oath. Showed documents, messages, bank statements. I told them how I trusted my brother while I was 7,000 miles away in a war zone. And he cashed in that trust like a winning lottery ticket. Ryan cried in court. I didn't. Judge gave him 18 months and 3 years probation after. Could have been worse. But I wasn't done. You'd think jail time would be enough. But Ryan didn't learn anything. While he was locked up, I finally got my house back in order. Had to change the locks again, repaint a few rooms, replace damn near everything from my home gym to my kitchen tools. Insurance didn't cover any of it. They called it unauthorized use by a trusted individual. Basically, I was screwed because I trusted my own brother. Whatever. I rebuilt. But while I was rebuilding, Ryan was inside making friends. The wrong kind. Somehow, he got in touch with a guy I used to know, Tony. Back in high school, Tony ran with a rough crowd. Drugs, theft, little scams. I cut him off years ago. But Ryan must have told him about everything about me, the FBI, the charges. Soon after Ryan got out, Tony messaged me on Facebook. Yo, you really called the feds on your own brother? That's cold. I ignored it. Then another one. You might want to watch your back. People don't like rats. That one I screenshotted and sent to Sam. 2 days later, Sam called me. This guy Tony, you know him? Used to. Why? He's on a watch list. Suspected in a few local fraud cases and ID scams. Nothing's stuck yet, but he's sturdy.
Great.
Now I've got my felon brother teaming up with an old crook I cut out of my life a decade ago. Turns out Ryan didn't just do his time quietly. He got bitter. Real bitter. Started telling people I set him up, like I wanted him to go to jail. Told anyone who'd listen that I owed him because I left him behind when I joined the army. That I changed and thought I was better than him. Word started to spread around town, mostly among the kind of people who already didn't like veterans. A few local punks keyed my truck. I got prank calls. Once, someone threw a bottle through my front window while I was at work. No witnesses. Cops filed a report and moved on. So yeah, I knew what was happening. Ryan was playing the victim and trying to flip the whole thing on me. But I kept calm. I stayed quiet, because I had a bigger plan. While Ryan was out there crying about family betrayal, I was pulling every legal string I could. I found out he'd been applying for loans using a fake business name. The name? CJR Enterprises. His initials. My initials. Classic Ryan. He was trying to open credit cards and accounts using a hybrid of our info. Old shared address. Fake tax ID. When I found the paperwork, I took it straight to the state attorney general's office. They opened a file. Quietly. At the same time, I reached out to a local reporter I knew. I gave her everything, court transcripts, proof of theft, pictures of my stripped-out garage, and yes, that last message from Tony. She ran a feature on veteran returns to find brother sold everything he owned, then played victim. Published it in the Sunday paper. Full spread. With photos. Ryan saw it. He blew up my phone again, texting nonstop. What the hell is wrong with you? You made me look like a monster. That's not what happened. You're gonna regret this. I didn't answer. I never do when he threatens me.
I just sent one reply.
You did this to yourself. And I'm just getting started. After the newspaper story went out, people started treating me differently. I wasn't just Craig the vet anymore. I was the guy whose brother stole everything while he was serving overseas. The guy who got screwed and didn't take it lying down. A few folks at the hardware store shook my hand. A couple neighbors I barely talked to brought over beer. One guy even offered to help fix the hole in my window for free. But not everyone was happy. Ryan disappeared from town right after the story broke. I figured he was laying low. Then I got a letter in the mail with no return address. It was handwritten and sloppy. Just 3 lines. You think you won? I've got more than you ever will. Check your back. We don't forget.
No signature.
I took it to the cops. Again. They didn't have much to go on. That same week, strange things started happening. My credit card was flagged for a suspicious gas station charge in Pennsylvania. I hadn't left Ohio in months. My bank froze the account and told me someone had tried to open a new card in my name. I knew who it was. Turns out Ryan didn't just tell sob stories while he was locked up, he listened, too. Learned from the guys around him. How to bounce between stolen IDs. How to make small charges that avoid red flags. How to clone a SIM card. And now he was trying to use my name to crawl back into the world. I had to spend days undoing it all. Police reports. Credit freezes. Calls to the VA and Social Security. It was like living through the theft all over again. But here's where it got weird. One night around 2 a.m., I heard a noise outside. Looked out my window and saw a car parked across the street. Engine running, lights off. It sat there for about 10 minutes. I grabbed my phone and took a picture of the plates. Next morning, I ran them through a buddy who works for the county. The car was registered to some girl named Brianna. No connection to Ryan on paper. But I dug deeper. Asked around. Found out Brianna was Ryan's ex from high school. The one who used to drive him to court when he lost his license for DUI. She lived 2 towns over now. Worked part-time at a vape shop. Quiet life.
Until recently.
A contact at the DMV told me she had just co-signed a loan for a new SUV with a guy named Chris Jameson. There is no Chris Jameson, but it's damn close to Craig Jameson. My name. Ryan had created a fake ID under a modified version of my name and convinced her to help him finance a vehicle. And I knew what that meant. He wasn't just playing games anymore. He was building a whole new life using my identity and dragging other people into it. I called the fraud line again. This time, I sent them the picture of the car, the DMV info, and proof of the forged alias. They said they'd escalate it, but I knew from experience how slow they moved. So, I made another call.
Told Sam.
I told him everything. The fake ID, the loan, the car, the girl, and he said something I'll never forget.
All right.
Time to shut this down for good. After that call with Sam, I felt a shift. This wasn't about getting back my stuff anymore. This was about stopping a man who'd turned into a walking disaster. One who used to be my little brother. Sam got me in touch with a contact at the U.S. Marshal's office. They'd already had Ryan on their radar because of the previous case, but with this new identity fraud, fake loan, and interstate activity, it became a bigger deal. Especially since the car loan crossed state lines. That's federal fraud. Still, I didn't sit around waiting. I hired a private investigator out of my own pocket. An ex-cop named Mike, who didn't ask too many questions. I gave him everything. Brianna's name, the fake alias, the plate number, everything. It didn't take long. 3 days later, Mike called me from a payphone. He said Ryan was living in a rented house under the fake name, about 2 hours south in a smaller town called Portsmouth, Ohio. Not the kind of place you run to, more like where you go when you've run out of places to hide. Mike took photos. Ryan looked nothing like the brother I remembered.
Thin.
Greasy hair. Some crappy goatee. Still trying to act like he was in control. He was wearing new clothes, driving that SUV Brianna co-signed on, and living like none of this ever happened. But Mike also gave me something better, proof Ryan was using my social security number. He tried to rent a house using it. We got a copy of the application. That was it. That was the final nail. I handed everything to Sam. He escalated it straight to federal investigators. Within a week, a multi-agency fraud case was opened. But I wasn't done. While they built the case, I started talking to Brianna myself. Yeah, she was part of it, but from what I saw, she was just being used. I sent her a letter with everything, court records, photos, screenshots, legal documents proving Ryan had a history of this. I told her Ryan had dragged her into a federal case. She didn't believe me at first. But when agents came to talk to her, she broke. She flipped on him. Told the feds everything. Where he'd been staying, what names he used, how he pressured her into co-signing things, and that he claimed he was starting over because his brother destroyed his life. That was enough to put them on him fast. April 19th, 7:42 a.m. Ryan was pulled out of his rented house in nothing but boxers and a hoodie. No warning. No time to run. They raided the house. Found more forged papers. A burner phone with text logs between him and Tony, trying to set up a scam involving fake veteran charity donations. That's what finally turned my stomach. He used my name, my service, to scam people out of money for fake, wounded warrior donations. That's when I felt real hate. The kind you don't walk off. They charged him with federal identity theft, wire fraud conspiracy to commit fraud, misuse of military service for personal gain, violating terms of probation. Brianna got immunity for flipping early. She helped take down the whole thing. But here's the twist you didn't see coming. The feds also wanted to talk to me. See, Ryan used some of my old military files when he built the fake charity page. And one of those files had a section about my first tour. Something that wasn't supposed to be public. Something redacted. They asked me why that file wasn't secured. And they were right to ask. I had kept an old backup drive from my early years. I was lazy. I never wiped it. I never encrypted it again after taking it home. That drive? It was part of what Ryan sold. That was a violation on my part. I didn't get charged. But I got a formal reprimand from the Army Reserves. They flagged my file. My security clearance was pulled. I wasn't dishonorably discharged, but I was told I wouldn't be brought back for reactivation or consulting work. That stung. Because of my brother's scam and my own mistake, I lost the option to ever go back. And maybe that's the karma I had coming. I gave him access. I trusted him when I knew better. But Ryan's punishment was worse. He got 5 years, federal prison, no parole. When they read the sentence, he didn't cry this time. He just looked over at me with nothing in his eyes. Not hate. Not regret. Just nothing. I didn't go up to him. Didn't say a word. I turned and left the courtroom while he was still in cuffs.
Now?
I live quieter. I rebuilt my credit. Got a new truck. I keep everything locked up, encrypted, secure. I don't speak to family much anymore. Most of them took sides. Some think I went too far. Others say I should have done more. But I sleep fine at night. I look in the mirror, and I don't see guilt. I see the guy who went to war, came home, and got robbed by the one person who should have had his back. And still stood back up.
And Ryan?
He's inmate number 114729 at a medium security facility in Kentucky. His cellmate was busted for wire fraud too. Maybe they'll swap notes. He always said I was the lucky one. Now he knows I made my own luck. By not letting him destroy me twice.